Good afternoon, everyone. We are Group 8 and we are presenting the Chapter 8 of Risk Management. The control environment. These are the definition of control environment. The system of internal control within the organization is an important component in the successful management of its risk. Internal control is concerned with the methods, procedures, and checks that are in place to ensure that a business meets the organization. So, mao ni siya ang mga mga objectives nga arrange na siya to follow the to follow the in place na siya. First is maintenance of reliable systems, timely preparation of reliable information, safeguarding of assets, optimum use of resources, preventing and detecting fraud and error. Next, the primary purposes of internal control activities is to help the organization achieve. So, mao ni siya ang iyang mga yang mga following purposes is namely atong kanan safeguard and protect the asset of organization, ensure the keeping to accurate records, promote operational effectiveness, and so on. Control environment. Control environment meaning is the quality control of environment within the organizations. Ang kan sa control environment is to measure the risk of culture with the organization. Mao niya mga core process, commitment, capability, monitoring, and learning. Maning mga upat ka components para makontrol nimo ang usa ka organization. Purpose, a sense of direction, what are here for, monitoring, commitment, capability. Features of control environment. Identification of need exploit opportunities, mitigation of weakness in business resilience, the importance of individual, the quality of the control environment, and so on. COCO framework of internal control. The first component of COCO framework is concerned with the establishment and communication of objectives, the significant internal of external risk faced by the organization of the policies designed to support achievement of the organization's objectives. These are the 8 major groupings of evaluate the control environment as follows. 1. Leadership planning, customers focus, people focus, process management, partnership, business performance, continuous improvement. And lastly, the good safety culture. Good safety culture is ensuring a risk-aware culture in the organization is vitally important. A risk-aware culture will be achieved when all members or staff and management understand and accept the importance of adequate risk management. And followed by the second reporter.
Good afternoon, sir. This is the second topic of our report. The second topic of our report is the audit committees. An increasing number of organizations have to describe that it is appropriate to have an audit committees. The next one is the responsibilities of audit committees. External audit. Recommended the appointment of reappointment external auditor. Review the performance and cost effectiveness of external auditors. Review of the qualification, expertise, and independence of external auditors. And review and discuss any reports from the external auditor. The next topic is the review internal audit. Evaluate the annual report against requirements of the governance code. Review the disclosure by the CEO and CFO during the certification of annual report. The next one is the regulatory report. Regulatory report review arrangement for producing the audited accounts, monitor and review standard of risk management and internal control, and determining the strategy, design the control, auditing compliance, nga nung naa sila, for example, a head of office department may decide on the appropriate level of the security for an organization. The design of the appropriate control may be the responsibility of the department. The next one is the risk assurance. The risk assurance is as an important component of the risk overall risk management process. The audit committee will seek assurance that all of the significant risks are being adequately managed and that all of the critical control are effectively and that they have been efficiently implemented. The next one is the source of the assurance. Cultural measurement. Risk management. By the use of recognition frameworks such as COCO or COSO in order to gain a quantitative evaluation of the control environment. The audit report produced by internal audit and external audit. The next one is the unit report. The unit report sets on the issue as a risk performance indicator, or also known as the CRSA, response to audit recommendation and report and indicate that the accurate performance of the units. On risk-related issues, losses, significant weakness, and control measurement and details of any material losses suffered by the units. The next one is the risk management. The last one of my topic is the control risk assessment. So if we're gonna talk about the control risk assessment, undertaking physical audits, internal audit in department will often facilitate a producer of self-certificate of control. Self-certificate of control is an arrangement whereby the local senior management complete a regular often return to confirming details of the level of the assurance that has been achieved in a department. The third reporter will be Mr. Jose. Pray, ikaw na pray.
So the next topic is benefits of risk assurance. Corporate governance is a major concern for all organizations and their stakeholders. Therefore, risk assurance should not be an administrative or box-ticking exercise. Organizations need to demonstrate that corporate governance is a priority for management. Obtaining risk assurance is an important part of the corporate governance arrangements for all organizations, as well as being of benefit to the strategic, tactical, operational, and compliance or SDOC, core processes, activities, and decisions of the organizations. The benefits of adequate risk assurance are that it builds confidence with stakeholders, provides reassurance to sponsors and financiers, demonstrate good practice to regulators, prevents financial and other surprises, reduce the chances of damage to reputation, encourages the risk culture within the organizations, and allows more secure delegation of authority. Scope of internal audit. There needs to be a close working relationship between risk management and internal audit. The responsibilities allocated to each of these functions will vary according to the nature, type, and size of the organization. This is an important working relationship because successful management of risk depends on four important risk-based outputs, which can be summarized as mid-2: mandatory, as required by laws, customers, clients, and standards; assurance for the management team and other stakeholders; decision making based on the best information available; and effective and efficient core processes throughout the organization. Role of internal audit. The diagram identifies those activities that are core to the work of the internal audit department. These activities include reviewing the management of risk, evaluating the reporting of those risks, and evaluating risk management processes. So the role of internal audit in ERM. ERM is Enterprise Risk Management. The risk registered will often record current controls and make recommendations for the implementation of additional controls. Next is undertaking an internal audit. Undertaking an internal audit exercise involves a number of steps as set out in Table 35.1. Essentially, the steps involved are planning the internal audit exercise, undertaking the field work during which controls are tested, producing the audit report, and finally ensuring that there is adequate follow-up. So undertaking an internal audit. In planning, one is initial contact to inform the client or audit target or involve association about the auditing and its objectives. 2. Initial meeting. Conference meeting so that the client can describe the areas for review and state the available sources and processes. 3 is preliminary survey. The auditors will gather all the needed data so they can have a good overview of the auditing. 4 is review internal control structure. The auditor will determine the priority areas for the audit to review. 5. Audit program preparation. The audit programs will outline the required fieldwork related to the audit topic and area. Next is the fieldwork. 1 is testing for the critical internal controls. This process tests if randomly selected records are accurate. 2 is regular updates. The auditor will carry out financial reporting, mostly in oral communication, and the client may help in resolving any issues raised. 3. Drafting the audit summary. When fieldwork is done, the auditor will summarize findings, conclusions, and recommendations. Next is the audio report. Audio report, the report will be reviewed by the audit team before presenting it to the client for further review. 2 is creating the report. Comments and suggestions on the first draft are taken into account in producing the final report. 3. Distribution of the final audit reports to people involved, senior management, audit committee as agreed. And last is the follow-up. 1. Audit follow-up. Response from the client will be reviewed so that the findings may be tested and resolved. 2 is reporting the audit follow-up. The effects of resolved and unresolved findings will be included in the follow-up. Next is risk management and internal audit. In many large organizations, the working relationship between risk management and internal audit can be difficult. Internal audit will be working to an agenda that concentrates on the effective implementation of efficient controls. So, the governance, risk, and compliance. From board to audit committee and top management, the first line of defense is operational management and internal controls. Second line of defense is risk management and compliance. Third line of defense is the internal audit and CRSA. The three lines of defense approach is also compatible with the concept of governance, risk, and compliance. GRC, which is illustrated in figure 35.2, the GRC approach is based on the overall view that the board is responsible for governance issues across the whole organization. Risk assurance. When an organization sets up a risk-based audit program, it will be seeking to ensure that internal audit activities are focused on the priority significant risk facing the organization. The three lines of defense applied to tax. First line, this means having a strategic understanding and the right people responsible for the basic business processes as they affect tax. Second line, this is the regular monitoring process. And the third line is this is independent assurance that the tax function is running properly through both internal and external auditing. There are advantages and disadvantages in having a close working relationship between risk management and internal audit. In many ways, there is complementary fit between the two disciplines, and there are benefits in having a common focus and coordinated planning related to the management of risk.
Management responsibilities. An alternative way of allocating responsibilities is that internal audit is responsible for activities that are identified as core internal audit rules. Allocation of responsibilities. Internal audit activities, giving assurance of risk management process, giving assurance that risks are correctly evaluated, evaluating risk management processes, evaluating the reporting of key risk, reviewing the management of key risk. Risk management support, facilitating identification and evaluation of risk, coaching management in responding to risk, coordinating ERM activities, consolidated reporting on risk, maintaining and developing the ERM framework, championing establishment of ERM, developing RM strategy for board approval, management risk responsibilities, setting the risk appetite, imposing risk management processes, management assurance on risk, taking decision on risk responses, implementing risk responses on behalf of management, accountability of risk management. 5 lines of assurance. The 5 lines of assurance model suggests the following sources of assurance. 1. The board of directors with overall responsibility for ensuring that effective risk management process are in place on other lines of managing risk within appetite. Number 2, senior executives and senior managers with overall responsibility for building and maintaining a robust risk management process and delivering reliable information on the principal risk. 3. Business unit leaders with assigned ownership or responsibility for reporting on specific risks and ensuring resources and protected objectives are being achieved. 4 is specialist units providing expertise on specific types of risk such as treasury, safety, environment, legal, and insurance with responsibility for related risk management processes. And last, internal audit activities providing independent and timely information to the board on reliability of the risk management processes in the organization and producing consolidated reports. Risk reporting is a wide range of risk management documentation that is relevant to risk management activities. The types of risk management documentation that may be required as follows: risk management and administration, risk response and improvement plans, event reports and recommendations, risk performance and certification reports. Risk management responsibilities of the board. Risk management processes ensure that RM is incorporated within normal processes, identify the principal risks facing the company, the two principal risk and risk appetite, assessment of risk to the business model strategy, risk and risk the organization while is willing to take or risk appetite. 3. Risk culture and risk assurance. Risk culture is embedded throughout the organization. Adequate RM and assurance discussions take place at the board. 4. Risk profile and risk mitigation. Risk profile of the company is kept under review. Measures to manage, mitigate the principal risks are taken. Monitoring and reviewing activities. Monitoring and review the risk management is undertaken. Monitoring and review is ongoing and not just annual. Risk communication and reporting. Internal and external risk management communication takes place. Necessary risk information is communicated to and from the board. Sarbanes-Oxley Act. The Sarbanes-Oxley Act, or SOX, was passed in response to a range of corporate scandals in the United States. These scandals involve misrepresentation of the financial status of various organizations, leading to misleading financial statement. The primary purpose of SOX is to ensure that information disclosed by companies listed on the stock exchange in the United States is accurate. SOX requires that controls are in place to ensure the accuracy of all information reported by the organization. Section 302 of the SOX requires that all data produced by the organization must be validated in relation to financial statement. Detailed analysis of risks that could result misrepresentation of the financial results of the organization has to be undertaken. The procedures for compiling financial information and attestation of the financial disclosures by external auditors as required by the section 404 are very detailed and considered to by many extremely onerous and costly to undertake.
Mana?
Yeah,
The last report na Kinapay, delivery ka, taas na ka nag-init.
Charities risk reporting. Risk reporting by charities is compulsory by most countries in the world. In general, there is an expectation that charity should be detailed risk management procedure, broadly equivalent to those required by government departments or the companies. There are 9 listed on stock exchange provided that report provides. First is an acknowledgement of trustees of responsibility. The second is an overview of the risk identification process. The third is an indication that major risks have been assessed. The fourth is the confirmation that control system have been established. The fifth is linkage between the identification of major risks of the operational and objectives of the charity. The sixth is procedure that exchange beyond financial risk of operational compliance and other categories of identifiable risks. The seven is linkage of risk assessment and evaluation of the likelihood of each. The eight is insurance risk management activities and monitoring are going to embedded in the management of operational procedures. And the last is justice reviews in consideration of principal results of risk identification. Public sector risk reporting. Openness of the transparency government will be open and transparent about its understanding of the nature of the risk of the public about the process of the following handling them. And the last is
Thank you. That was the last report.